Morning, my dear students. Today we will start the new chapter in first year biology, that is the living world. So, first of all, we have to know what is living. The living things are there means they show the following things. They may be reproduction, excretion, growth, then stimuli to external, like that. The living organism shows. First of all, we see the living things where they are present. The living things are present on the earth in different habitats. Like, you see, the living things present on the earth in different habitats. That is mountains, mountains, then oceans, then desert, then hot springs, then forest, and freshwater farms, etc. So, if living things are there, they are present in different habitat and lot of diversity is present. That may be plants, they may be animals. On the mountains, in mountains also see different plants we see and different animals are present from lower to advanced organisms, from lower plants to advanced plants. So like that we see the diversity. So they are adapted to that particular habitat only. So such adaptation we are seeing in mountains, in oceans also we see in salt concentration is there in water, and such a environment or such a condition the life is existing. In desert the high temperature is there, so the organisms also adapted to that extreme what to say temperature, so they are, even though they are surviving, they maintaining their generation also. So such a wonder we see. Hot springs means here you see hot you see water. So in that condition also the life is existing. In forest, you know very well forest. In forest we see rich diversity. You see many organisms are adapted to that conditions. In freshwater farms, the organisms are still present. So we see different habitats. The life is existing. They are maintaining their own generation. So now we see the living things character. characters of living beings. So what are the characters? See now, the living things shows growth. Then reproduction. Then metabolism. Metabolism. Then excretion. So excretion. Respiration. Then respond to external stimuli. External stimuli. Stimuli. Then movement. Then homeostasis. So etc. So their living things are showing following character. They showing growth, they showing reproduction, they showing metabolism, then excretion, respiration, respond to external stimuli, movement, homeostasis. These are the characters the living things are showing. First of all, we discuss what is growth. So growth means it's a irreversible factor. So when you see the growth, when you call the increase in the length, the increase in the length, increase in the length of the body or length of the body of organism, body of organism, organisms. So we call it as a growth. Growth is a irreversible factor. Growth is irreversible. Growth is irreversible. Then the growth may be increase in number. So increase in their number, so it is called as a growth. In microorganisms, they are like bacteria. In bacteria, increase in their number.
dividing many times. Many times. Many times. So we call it as a growth. So these are what? The growth changes from organisms to organisms. In organisms, the body size or length increases, we call it as a growth. In bacteria, increasing in their number, we call it as a growth. In what to say, abiotic factors, the dust particles or sedimentation occurring in a particular place, their size increases, so it is also a growth. But we are seeing the living things, we are discussing on living things, so increasing in length in organism we call it as a growth, or in bacteria increasing their number we call it as a growth. Next, metabolism. So, metabolism, why it is this? So, all the chemical reactions taking inside the body, we call it as a metabolism. All the chemical reactions taking inside the body, taking inside the body, inside the body, it's called as metabolism. Again, metabolism divided into two types. The metabolism divided into two types. First one, anabolism. So, it is also called as a constructive or formation, construction or formation. What formation? Formation of simpler molecule into complex. That is simpler molecules to complex molecule. So it is called as a anabolism. In catabolism, what happens? Destruction. Catabolism or destruction destruction or breaking down. Breaking down. So breaking down what? The complex molecule or complex substances into simpler substances. That is complex substances into simpler substances. Here simpler substances into complex. Complex. So these are the what mechanisms or processes taking place inside the body of an organism. There are two types. One is anabolism, that is construction of simpler substances to complex substances. Then in catabolism, the destruction or breaking down complex substances into simpler substances. So here you take in synthesis of what? Food. In photosynthesis, so it is what I say a constructive method. In destructive method, what happens? In respiration, in excretion, so what happens? So the complex substances are break in digestion, or you see in excretion. So here what happens? The complex substances are break. Example we are right here in digestion. Digestion also broken down complex substances. Digestion. Another one respiration. So here what happens? The substances are broken down. So these are the example. For you see in construction example, photosynthesis. So these are example for metabolism. Now we discuss respiration, reproduction. We discuss reproduction. Reproduction. Re means they produce their own kinds of what individuals. The parents they produce their own kinds of offsprings. How they are involved in reproductions. So many organisms they born after they get maturity, so they reproduce their own kinds of offspring. So it is very necessary. The particular organisms having a particular lifespan. In that life period only, they have to reproduce their own kind of species or individuals. So it is very necessary to continue the life processes or their generation. So all organisms reproduce their own kinds of So offspring means parents. These organisms, they are producing the offsprings. So they are identical to their parents. So how the different methods of reproduction is there? Vegetative, asexual and sexual. So these are the methods. By this method, the organisms are producing their own kinds of species. Now we discuss excretion. Excretion, why it is necessary? So it is very necessary. The organisms, so the nitrogenous or toxic substances are produced, that substances are removed from the body. The process we call it as excretion. The organisms removes toxic substance, that is nitrogenous waste, that is nitrogenous waste from the body, from the body from the body. The process we call it as excretion. Excretion. If nitrogenous waste not removed from the body, it becomes toxic. If it is toxic, the organism will die. So to overcome this problem, so all the organisms, what they do, they remove the nitrogenous waste from the body. Example, in human beings we give what is a kidney. In human beings, excretion is done by kidney. Nitrogenous waste kidney. Now we have discussed growth, then metabolism, reproduction, another aspect. Response to external stimuli. So many things are there. So these are the characters of living organisms. So we have discussed what are the characters living organisms show. So in next class we discuss other aspect. So now we end the class.